Back to Harvard, we now know who will face off on that first two nights, in fact, both nights of those debates, June 26th and 27th in Miami this month, a couple weeks from now. On each of those two nights, I predict we're going to see candidates square up with more of the swipes they've already been taking at each other out on the trail. On the first night, let's ask our panelists here. Will Elizabeth Warren, who said she's done with one set of rules for Democrats and Republicans, spar with fellow Senator Amy Klobuchar, who has argued that when it comes to legislation, there has to be some compromise? On the second night, former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper is already going head-to-head with Bernie Sanders, Hickenlooper going after him for his socialism. That same night will feature Pete Buttigieg, who said Democrats can't turn back the clock to the 90s, obviously going after Joe Biden, who's going to be sitting right near him. For more, I'm joined by Ginger Gibson, political correspondent for Reuters, and Adrian Elrod, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton. Let me go with Ginger on this. Who do you think is going to be the one to take the first shot at somebody else?
I think that it's going to happen on the second night. I think the first night's probably going to be very light on swings, but on that second night with Biden on the stage, with Bernie Sanders and Hickenlooper, as you already pointed out, on the stage, these are some folks who've already started to receive some incoming and are going to get even more. Also, we can think back to Bernie's first debate in the 2016 election. He did not take any swings at Hillary Clinton in that debate. He held off until subsequent debates. I would be surprised if he gets through this full debate without taking a swipe at Joe Biden.
Well, one of the great things about politics is when one person attacks another, when A attacks B, C gains. Isn't that beautiful? You shoot at the other guy, you pay for being nasty. The person you hit gets hurt. But then somebody else benefits. I just love these weird situations, these ricochets.
Well, that's what's so fascinating. And I think, we've all been waiting for bated breath to know who was going to make the debate stage and then, of course, to know who's going to be on which night. I agree with you. I think the first night, I don't think it's necessarily going to be tame. I think you're going to see Elizabeth Warren try to create a very stately type of persona. I don't think she's going to throw a lot of swings either. I think she's going to try to look very presidential and very policy focused. I do think the second night is going to be pretty wild.
Well, Mayor Pete Buttigieg will appear on stage with Kirsten Gillibrand, the first Democratic senator to call for Senator Al Franken of Minnesota to leave the U.S. Senate. That was 2 years ago. Here's what Mayor Pete said about Franken during our hardball town hall. Believe it or not, just last week. It seems like a year ago. Here we go. Al Franken, should he have been pushed to resign from the U.S. Senate by the Democratic caucus, his fellow caucus members?
I think it was his decision to make, but I think the way that we basically held him to a higher standard than the GOP does their people has been used against us.
Do you think he should have been pushed to leave?
Again, it was his decision. I think that.
But I'm asking about his decision. Should the other members of the Democratic caucus in the Senate, starting at the top, Chuck Schumer down, and the other people that pushed him to get out, they put a lot of pressure on him to leave. Were they right or wrong?
Well, I think it's not a bad thing that we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Were they right to do that, to push him out of the Senate? Because they did.
I would not have applied that pressure at that time before we knew more.
Isn't it interesting how people get to an answer?
It is. And,
And now she, of course, the Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who was really the leader of that. There's so many senators. By the way, to be fair, Kamala was for it. Michael Bennet was for getting him out of there. They were all very rough on that guy because it was right in the middle of the race in Alabama, and they were worried about Doug Jones, right, and running against that character down there.
It's going to be near impossible, I think, for Buttigieg to try to go after Gillibrand or even draw any sort of distinction there, because he's already having to answer accusations that he's getting more attention because he's a white male compared to the more experienced female candidates on.
Why do you think it's his fault that he's getting more attention?
Because
for a while Beto got a lot of attention and it really hurt him. I think maybe
it did, and we'll see what the light does to Buttigieg. But how do you answer that question when you say, are they paying attention to me more because I'm a man? I'm the mayor of a city.
Well, Barney Frank was on. This gets wild. Barney Frank was a brilliant guy. He's an openly gay guy. He said it's because he's gay. It makes him interesting. that's what Barney said.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different reasons why he's breaking out and why he's gotten so much press attention. He's a great messenger. He represents a generational change in our party. But look, when it comes to Kirsten Gillibrand, she is desperately in need of a breakout moment, and I think that you will see her draw a contrast with Mayor Pete.
Is this
on
the last chance saloon for these candidates for the summer? I guess the next one's in July.
I think Kirsten Gillibrand, I think she'll qualify for the second debate in July, but I think she's got a really tough time qualifying for the third debate, and it's not just her. There's a lot of other candidates because of course, on the third debate, you've got to get at least 2% in national polls, and you've got to raise grassroots donations and amend.
You're both. Let me ask you both. You're in this business like mine. I am. Is this a time to pick a presidential candidate that can be president and certainly begin by beating the other guy, Trump? Or is it still the sort of Baskin and Robbins era where you go into a ice cream store and you go, I think I'm going to try pistachio today. Or
I think it's
is
the
it still
latter.
like, yeah, I get the feeling it's still like, I sort of like Buttigieg last night, or I sort of like Kirsten Gillibrand last night. I like this new Tulsi Gabbard, or is it still at that era?
I was on the trail last week with Elizabeth Warren. I was talking to voters in Michigan and Indiana. I have to tell you, there is a little bit of that, but there's also this real desire for stability and calm. They see a chaos that they want ended, and that's kind of vanilla, right? That's no risks. Want what's going to be
Safety
the
school.
calmest. So it's like, yeah. So it's Warren seems great, and
I think
Buttigieg
John knows
seems
that.
great.
Biden is vanilla.
But Biden is vanilla.
That's not. You can own that one. I'm not sure he likes it, but I think he owns it anyway. Meanwhile, in his interview with Fox this morning, President Trump weighed in on several of his potential Democratic rivals. Here comes the slur machine, ladies and gentlemen. Hold your ears.
Look, everybody knows that Joe Biden does not have what it takes. Okay, he doesn't have what it takes. Everybody knows.
What does that mean?
It means mental capacity. It means a lot of different things. Now I see that Pocahontas is doing better. I would love to run against her, frankly. I see that Bernie Sanders is not doing well at all. I would have, frankly, liked to have run against. I think it's probably those three. I don't see the other ones. I really don't see it. They talk about Kamala. I don't see Kamala. I don't see. I think it's
Mayor
probably
Pete.
between the three of them.
Right.
Mayor Pete, I don't see at all. I think that's a joke.
What do you think? Is he smart? By the way, it's Kamala.
Well, I know, exactly. He got her name wrong. Look, I mean, there's no question right now that Elizabeth Warren is on the rise, that Biden and Bernie are still the top two candidates. So to
Is
an
Elizabeth
extent,
passing Bernie?
I think she's going to.
You think so?
I mean, I think that the support she's building on the ground, she is very good in a town hall, and people are taking notice.
The one thing, Chris, we got to keep in mind, though, is that she's not bundling, and I think that could possibly hurt her. She's not able to raise the funds that she needs to raise in larger amounts to stay in the race, but hopefully the grassroots donations will come in.
I hate conversations about fundraising. I know it goes on. I know it's necessary. It appalls me.
She's taking
it
a
does.
gamble, though. She's got twice the staff of anybody else running.
I think the socialist tag is not helping within the Democratic Party. I looked at the only polled group are those under 30 who are not at all like that title. Anyway,
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.